Mentor has entered into the conference room.
Hello?
Hello. Yeah, hi, this is Tony.
Oh, hi. Nice to meet you. I'm Darren. I'm interested in computer science.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm a senior right now in computer science at the University of Utah.
Oh, okay. Well, can I ask you some questions?
Yeah, sure.
Um, what what do you enjoy doing most?
In general,
Like
or about
in
about
general?
computer science in general?
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I mean, uh, I like I like learning. I like math. I like programming and goofing around on the computer. Also, I like reading and riding my bicycle and hiking and camping and those kinds of things.
Oh, all right. Cool. Um, when you were in high school, what did you really want to do?
When I was in high school, I thought that I wanted to be a writer, actually, a book writer, like a novelist, and that didn't really work out. I didn't try
Oh,
very hard, but yeah, it just wasn't a very realistic career goal for me. So I kind of changed my mind and decided I wanted to be a computer scientist.
all right. Um, did you have like any role models?
In high school,
Yeah, or just in general.
in general, let me see. Let me think. That's a good question. Let's see. Role models. I mean, I think currently I do think of some of my professors as role models uh, because I admire their ability to work really hard and their ability to teach other people and just kind of their discipline as well. Along the way, yeah, I mean, I had some other role models, maybe kind of earlier in my life. I've always kind of looked up to people that were independent and sort of did things that they wanted to do rather than just kind of doing things because that was what was expected of them. Like people that would kind of maybe not dress the same as other people and maybe wouldn't just immediately go get a 9 to 5 job and settle down and have a car and a family and stuff like that.
Oh, so so that's the type of person you are too. Like
Maybe.
some
I mean,
more.
yeah, it could be. I mean, I guess I'm a little atypical. Like, uh, I prefer riding my bike as opposed to driving a car because I think it's more fun. And um, yeah, I'm not really. I don't think I didn't really ever go into computer science or anything because it was because I knew it was going to give me a good job. I mean, it is a really good field to go into if you want a job. That wasn't really the reason for me. The reason for me was that I was just really fascinated by it and really curious. So yeah, I guess that's a little, there are a lot of people like me that are computer scientists, but there are also a lot of people like that are just kind of, they're computer science majors because they know they'll be able to get a good job with it.
Oh, all right. And what kind of student do you think computer science is for? Like, what type of personality would go into it?
That's a good question too. I mean, I don't think there is just one personality type. But I do think it's a very difficult major. It's not an easy major. So it's somebody that's going to succeed in the program is going to be somebody that is able to work hard and also rely. You have to be a little bit outgoing socially because a lot of the homework you do and the projects you do, a lot of times you're not working alone and you need some help from other people. So you definitely have to be able to, even if you're not comfortable with it, you have to be able to talk to other people and ask questions. And um, I think a lot of it too is you have to learn how to um, be self-sufficient in some ways. Like you have to be able to just kind of look at a problem and concentrate on it and think about it for a while, and then finally solve it. So I guess in that respect, people that like puzzles and games and things like that tend to make really good programmers. So uh, maybe that would give you a leg up. But again, I don't think there's any one personality type that succeeds at computer science.
Oh, okay. What do you think is some misunderstandings about computer science?
Another good question. So, kind of related to what I just said, um, I think a lot of people go into it thinking, oh, I'll be a programmer. I can just sit there and be in my own little world and not have to talk to people, and I just can write code on my computer all day. But that's really not the case. You have to be working with other people. Like it's a very social activity. So I think that's one misconception. And I think another misconception is kind of similar to math. I think a lot of people think that if you don't already know how to program, then you can't do computer science. And that's completely not true. I didn't know anything about programming or developing software or anything before I started, and I've been successful at it. So you don't have to come in and already know how to program. That's the whole reason you're taking the courses, is to learn that.
Oh, okay. That's ensuring.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's like a day like as a student at the university?
Good question. Also, I'm a little different in this. A lot of computer science students tend to stay up really late and work into the night. I'm kind of the opposite, where I like to wake up really early and get on campus when it's still quiet. Um, but a typical day, I mean, it would be going up to campus and checking my calendar and figuring out, what assignment is due and what project is due and what do I have to do to get that done. And depending on the day, I'll work on homework, um, or some other task that I have to do. Usually until class, and then go to class obviously. And um, let's see. So yeah, I usually have anywhere from 1 to 3 classes a day. So I'm in class for anywhere from like an hour and a half to maybe 3.5 hours each day. And then some time. It's nice to be up on campus because then you can spend some time meeting up with your friends who are also students and going and grabbing some lunch. But yeah, I mean the typical day is not very exciting. You spend a lot of time on campus, and you do spend a lot of time doing homework. Um, but that discipline really pays off, because if you can kind of keep up and keep kind of ahead of the curve, then you can make it through and be a little bit more relaxed about it.
Well, all right. What other courses did you like?
Another excellent question. So let's see. I like math courses. I like linear algebra a lot. That was a really enjoyable class. And also like probability and statistics was a good class. But kind of less computer science and mathy. I took a class that was all about earthquakes and volcanoes, and that was a really fascinating class. I learned a lot in that class. And then I also took a class about what I can't even remember the name of the course, but it was basically all about kind of how the atmosphere works and how weather patterns. It's kind of like the climate, the study of the climate of the whole world, and I learned a lot about like the jet streams and the Coriolis effect, and it's just really fascinating stuff. I do like to learn about other things like geology and earth sciences and stuff like that. And there was an astronomy class I took too that was really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the ones that come to mind. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You said you worked on projects. Like, what what kind of projects are you working on really?
Well, it depends. I mean, most of the time, I would most of the time these are like projects for class. Um, but like right now, I'm taking a class on it's called Big Data Systems. So it's kind of how when these problems get really large and they're too big for just a single computer to handle, how you can write a computer program and instead of telling one computer to do it, you tell 10 or 100 or 1,000 computers to all share the workload and do their part, and then they kind of get back together and give you the answer. So a project in there that we're working on right now is it's kind of like simulating a Google search, where we're taking this universe of Wikipedia pages, and the job is to basically allow the user to type in a word or 3 or 4 words and give them a good list of web pages based on that. Um, so that's one project I'm working on. And then I'm trying to think what else I've been working on. Another class I'm taking is programming languages. So those are kind of smaller projects, but so this is always kind of weird to me. It's like, okay, so somebody writes these programming, well, you write programs in the programming language, right? But then
Hmm.
somebody had to write that programming language also. So you're kind of like jumping down another level and you're learning how to write programs to write programming languages. So I've been doing a lot of work on that, and it's a lot of fun.
Oh, okay. Uh, do you enjoy it? I mean,
I
you
enjoy. Go ahead.
sorry, what?
Go ahead. I think I cut you off there. Go ahead and ask your question.
I know you said you enjoyed it already, but like
Mhm.
what specifically do you enjoy about it?
Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of like a rush, like a kind of like I don't know if you're into any like kind of like sports or anything like that. I'm not really, but I mean, sort of like when you accomplish something, you get this rush, this feeling of you get to watch it and think, oh my gosh, I made that. That's really cool, and it actually works. So I mean, that's one thing I really enjoy about it is just um, after I put in 10, 20, 30 hours on a project, just being able to show it to people. It's really fun to show to people, and then just to kind of know like I created this. It's really, I mean, if you like creating things, if you like drawing or painting or writing stories or anything like that, if you like any kind of creativity, um, it's just it's a rush like that where you feel really proud of what you did. And aside from that, I mean, it's really fun to just kind of learn how these things work. Like it's really, I mean, I find it very fascinating. I find kind of the mathematics that happens sort of underneath programs. I find that kind of mathematics really fascinating. So it's always fun to me, even in the process of it, to kind of understand and kind of like I mentioned before, it's sort of like a puzzle. You have to stop and think through like what's going on here, what's really happening, why does this work. So I like that process. I like that process of kind of figuring it out, and you stumble a lot along the way, but then ultimately you figure it out and you realize like wow, that's really cool, and it's cool to think about like somebody else figured this out. Like somebody else learned how to do this at some point, and now it's this awesome tool. So I think things like that are really cool. So I don't know. I hope that answers the question.
Oh yeah, that answers it. Um, did you get any like scholarships?
Yeah, I did, and I'm not. I'll be the first to say I'm not a. As far as grades go, at least in high school and early along in college, I wasn't a very good student. Mainly because I just wasn't really that interested in what I was doing. But even though I wasn't a very good student, because there's just kind of a high demand for people that are doing computer science and other related things, I was still able to get scholarships for 3 years. So, and they were enough to basically pay my tuition and give me a little bit of extra money, not very much, but yeah, it definitely helped. And if you're a really good student and kind of have really good grades and other things they look at, you can basically get all of your college paid for, especially in computer science.
Oh, oh, okay. Um, like, what do you think is the hardest part about doing this major?
Wow, there's a lot of hard things in it, and it kind of depends on the student. You'll find that there's kind of a lot of different types of people in computer science, and there's a lot of different sort of little kind of sub areas in computer science. So I really like the mathematical stuff and the algorithm, like kind of what recipe are we going to use to solve this problem. And the part of computer science that I have a really hard time with is it's kind of like the systems part where you're sort of looking at what's happening actually in the computer and what kind of code you have to write to interact with your hardware and your computer and with your operating system to just to kind of make your computer work on its own. And I find that really difficult because it's just a lot of really small details that you have to get right. And I get kind of bogged down in those details, and I get kind of confused when I'm doing that kind of stuff. I really enjoyed it, but that's kind of part of the some of the hardest stuff that I've done with computer science. But again, I have friends that just eat that stuff up. They look at systems and they're like, oh yeah, this is easy. I kind of know how to do this. But then when they come and they try to do kind of the more conceptual stuff, like the more algorithms type of stuff and math stuff, they get really confused by that. So that's my opinion on what the hardest part is, but it really depends on who you ask. Different students have different strengths and weaknesses.
Oh, okay. And what do you think is like how many hours do you think you put into like class and homework, and like what's your stress level?
Okay. Yeah, good question. It's relatively high. I think a lot of computer science students, myself included, it can be really stressful. So definitely you need to kind of think ahead and think of some strategies of how to minimize that and how to deal with that. But so as far as hours go, it depends on the semester, but sometimes you'll have just a lot of really hard classes, and it also depends. Well, what it really depends on is how many computer science classes you're taking in a semester. If you're going full time and you're trying to take 4 computer science classes, I would say on average, so computer science classes, they're typically 3 credit hours, which means you're in class for 3 hours a week. But then I would say um, normally you would have to spend anywhere from 2 to 3 times that amount of hours outside of class to really do well in the class and to get really good grades. And I'm talking like A's and A minus and B plus. So if we're talking, say you're taking 3 computer science classes and 1 non-computer science class, you'd be looking at so about 12 hours in class altogether, and then so let's see, 9, and then maybe about 20, probably about 30 hours outside of class. So I don't know, altogether maybe anywhere from like 45 to some weeks you might spend 60 hours a week altogether with classes and studying and working.
Oh, well,
So,
yeah, that's intimidating. Uh,
it is, but I'll tell you another thing too though. Like, so if you can, one good strategy is to sort of balance out your classes. Like, you don't have to take 3 computer science classes every semester. Especially if you're just coming into college, you'll have a lot of kind of general ed classes that you have to take. So a lot of people will take, 2 computer science classes and then 2 non-computer science classes, and that'll lighten the load a little bit. But again, and it fluctuates. Some weeks, you might have an easy week and you might be able to, only spend 25, 30 hours, but then other weeks you're gonna be you're gonna be working hard on a project, and you're gonna be in the lab with your friends till late at night sometimes.
Oh yeah. After college, where do you expect to get a job? Are you
That's
just
a
gonna
good
apply
question.
anywhere, or do you have anything in
Uh,
mind?
yeah, I mean, I have some things in mind. So I'm a senior right now, and I did an internship with Micron. They make memory like RAM and stuff like that up in Boise, Idaho over the summer. And I mean, I could go work there in January if I wanted to. They've given me a job offer. But it's not really the kind of work that I want to do. So I'm actually going to wait. I'm going to stay in school and do my master's degree also. Um, and the reason I want to do that is because I want to do something more like data science, where you're kind of again you're working with the algorithms and the statistics side and stuff like that. So companies that would hire me for that, some of the big companies would, like Microsoft, Google, maybe Facebook, if I'm interested in them. But I don't have to go there. There's other companies. There's a company called Tableau Software up in Seattle that I might go work for this summer. And then there's a lot of military contractors. I'm trying to think of the name of this one. Uh, Sandia Laboratories, Level 3 Communications. So these are all companies that I've kind of had interactions with and talked to and would consider working at. To be honest, I'm not bragging or anything like that, but when you are a senior in computer science, it's not whether you're going to find a job, it's which job are you going to choose. So
So,
it's that's the good thing.
how'd you get in contact with those companies? Like,
Um,
does
so are you
you?
are you in are you in Utah or are you in somewhere else?
I'm in Utah.
Oh, okay, so yeah, so I go to the University of Utah. They have a science and engineering career fair every fall, and you basically there's companies that come to you. They come from all over the country, and that's really how I've made most of my contacts as far as potential employers. But then, I've also like talked to people, like, you get to know your classmates really well because you spend a lot of time with them. And they might say, hey, I'm working part time, or, maybe somebody's going to graduate a year ahead of you, and you know where they're going to go work, and you keep in contact. Then, it's easy to just say, hey, are you guys hiring there or anything like that? So, but mainly it's been through that career fair. It's a really, 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 really powerful tool. And if you do go to the University of Utah, you should definitely uh, make that a priority, is to go to that career fair every fall.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I actually was planning to go, but um, did you have to take out student loans?
I did, yeah, because again, I got some scholarships, but they weren't quite enough to cover all of my expenses. So I did have to take out some student loans. Um, Not everybody does, like I said, if you're a really good student in high school and you kind of have your act together a little better than I did, then you can get some pretty substantial scholarships. I definitely know some people that got through college without ever having to work part time and never having to work or never having to take out any loans. But it just didn't work out for me. I didn't have like my parents weren't paying for a lot of it, so I kind of had to do it on my own, which is fine. And I don't, it's ideal to not have to take out student loans, but I don't
Yeah.
mind it just because I know that I'll have a good enough job. I'll be able to pay them back.
Yeah. How long do you expect to pay it back by?
I don't know. I mean, the type of person I am, when I do have a job, I'm pretty responsible as far as like paying my bills and stuff, and I don't like to be in debt. I don't like that feeling. Um, so, but yeah, it's hard to say exactly. I'd say maybe within probably a couple of years at most. That I didn't, I don't have that much in student loan debt, and I like right now I don't have a family or anything like that. So once I get a job and start making some money, I won't. My bills aren't very big, so I'll be able to put a lot of the money towards paying that off pretty quickly.
Oh, all right. Um, anything like special that you gained from this education?
Yeah, definitely. I've met some really cool people. You know, like I said, you end up, and I guess you end up spending a lot of time with your classmates, and you see the same people in every class. You know, a lot of your classes you see a lot of the same people over and over again. So it's definitely to your benefit to get to know those people and become friends with them. So yeah, I've definitely I've made a lot of friends. I've gotten exposed to some outstanding teachers. There, some of the professors up there are just so incredibly smart and so good at helping you learn things. That's been a really special experience. I'm also a teaching assistant up there. So I've gotten to get a lot of experience in um, talking, like public speaking. I have, if you're scared of public speaking, I used to be scared of public speaking. Now I could care less. I'll just get up and I'll talk in front of anybody now. And then also, I've just gotten a chance to being a teaching assistant to really feel like, um, when I'm talking to somebody and trying to explain something to them, and I've had that experience where all of a sudden they understand it, and it's a really great feeling to sit there and watch somebody just kind of smile and say like, oh my gosh, I get it, I understand what you're saying. So that's been a really cool experience also. um, but yeah, I no regrets at all. I have no regrets at all. I've got have a had a lot of really awesome experiences and learned a lot of really cool stuff.
How did you get that TA?
I just I just asked. The best way, if you want to become a teaching assistant, if you want to become a TA, the best way to do it is to do well in your classes, your first couple of classes. Talk to the professor, go to their office hours, and then also talk to their TAs. So you'll have TAs that will be helping you with homework and stuff. Just talk to them and get to know them. And then, at the end of the semester or towards the end of the semester, if you feel like you did really well in the class and you want to teach that class to somebody else, just email the professor and say, hey, I think I might be interested in being a TA for this class. Can I come meet you in your office and talk to you for a few minutes about that? And I've done that, and I've never ever had a professor say no. They're happy to talk to you. That doesn't mean they're going to give you a job, but even if they don't give you a job, it's pretty likely that if you show that initiative, they'll they'll find somebody that's looking for TAs, and they'll get you a job. So it's not hard to get the job, just because there's not, like it's not hard to get the job, but you kind of have to be proactive to get the job. You have to do well in the class, and then you have to show the professor that you're somebody that's willing to do this and that you're capable of doing it. And once you do that, you get a good name with the professors, and you can have that job any semester that you want.
Yeah. Um, what are some of the exciting jobs in computer science?
Um, well, it depends who you ask. Um, for me, as I kind of mentioned earlier, the thing that's exciting to me is data science and working on, like these really really huge problems, like just where we have so much data and we can't, we struggle to be able to apply these algorithms at this large of a scale. Um, that to me is the most kind of fascinating work, is just being able to look at these really big problems and think about, how have people solved this in the past, and how are we gonna do a better way? How are we gonna come up with a better way? That's an exciting job. I have friends that they more enjoy the things like writing iOS apps, or writing apps for what's the Google, or yeah, the Google OS, Android, writing Android apps, games. A lot of people come to computer science because they want to make games. And the University of Utah has one of like the top. They're usually number one or number two as far as their game development program there. So we have a lot of game makers. What else? Databases. I don't know. I guess some people like databases, networks. A lot of people like like doing things with networks, like setting up and managing networks. And there's a lot of exciting stuff going on.
Yeah. So you said you wanted to go into data systems. What are your career aspirations for that?
Well, I mean, can you maybe be more specific? Like, what do you mean by career aspirations?
Like uh, long term.
Like long term? Yeah, good question. So, I mean, I don't know. It's to me, I do have a long term horizon, but it's also kind of like um, I'm kind of like I'm always enjoying what I'm doing, so I don't really get too caught up in the long term because I just sort of figure, well, if I keep sort of doing this and keep sort of following this path, I assume that I'll keep finding things, and that's another part of it is discovery. Like I'm not really sure what I want to do because it's kind of unknown. Like some of the things that I like working on are some of the problems that don't necessarily have good solutions yet. So it's hard for me to say what I'd like to be working on. I mean, I can pretty confidently say that I would like to be solving hard problems. But what those hard problems are, I don't know because there are more hard problems than there are numbers of hours that I have in the rest of my life. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a little bit vague on exactly, do I want to be working at a university? Do I want to be working at Microsoft? I don't know. In some ways, it doesn't really matter as long as they're letting me do something that's challenging me and making me feel like I'm actually accomplishing something.
Oh, all right. And like what kind of classes do you have to take or should you take
Uh,
for
uh, well, so when you go into the computer science major for maybe the first about 2 years, you don't really have much choice. You're gonna take calculus. You're gonna take calculus one, two, and three, and then you're gonna take like a introduction to object-oriented programming is gonna be kind of your first introduction to computer science. You're gonna take courses on algorithms and data structures. You're gonna take a class in discrete mathematics, and then so then you're also going to be taking your general classes, and for those, just I would say just take things that sound interesting for your general classes. It doesn't really matter. But then your second year, you're going to be learning really, really in depth how to become a competent software developer. So you're going to take a year long, two classes back to back that are just about writing software and testing software and deploying software and writing software together in groups, alone, different languages. So that's kind of your first 2 years. Um, and then there's more classes that are required, like you have to take a computer systems class. You have to take a computer architecture class, which is kind of like, what's the machinery underneath the computer? What's that all about? And then I'm sure there's a couple other ones, but then you get to the really fun part. Then you get to your electives, and you have 7 classes, and for the most part, you can take whatever you want. And that's the time where you get to really dig in and say, wow, I really like doing this, building this little network in my programming class. I'm going to take a class on networks, or wow, I really liked I don't know, I really liked playing with databases in that other class, so I'm going to take this database class. So at that point, I would say the only way you can do that incorrectly is if all you're doing is trying to find the easiest classes, because that you're not going to really. I mean, I don't know. I think if you're just in it to take the easy classes, that's the wrong way to go about it. But if you're in it because you look at a class and you think like, wow, I'd really like to learn about that, then you really can't go wrong. Um, you're going to take some fundamental classes, and then you're going to get some choices as to what you want to take. And as long as you're doing something that you think you're going to enjoy doing, whether you end up enjoying it or not, I think you're on the right
Oh, all right. And what math level were you in high school before you went to college?
track. Yeah, in high school, I hadn't had any calculus. I'd basically, done everything through, up basically to calculus. Maybe seen like a little bit of like introductory calculus, but nothing substantial. Um, and yeah, that's about it. I remember taking like a math topics course, which was a little weirder. So it was kind of like more about proofs and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, that was so. So yeah, calculus was hard for me. It was really hard, but um, I all I had. This might not be the attitude to have or attitude that everybody has, but I just figured all I got to do is get through calculus because unless you do like scientific computing or maybe you're doing graphics or something like that, it's not likely you're ever going to use calculus again as a computer scientist. So it's kind of like it's just a test of will. It's just a test to make sure you can get through these hard classes. Um, but
Oh,
I haven't used calculus once since
so you
since
think
I finished
that
school.
the computer science classes are easier than calculus?
I wouldn't say easier. I would just say to me they were more interesting and more engaging. So
Yeah.
I didn't mind doing my computer science homework. I would, if I was given the choice, and I had to choose. Well, I could do my calculus homework, which is boring and monotonous, and really long and drawn out, or I could work on this programming assignment I have. And guess which one I chose? I always chose computer science one because to me it was a lot more fun and a lot more fascinating. And I always, so I would always choose my computer science homework, and then I'd put off my calculus homework. And I also realized that calculus didn't matter as much to me as the computer science did. I really, I wanted to do well in the computer science class, and I didn't really care if I did that well in the calculus class. So,
Okay.
so I wouldn't say it was harder, just less fascinating to me.
Yeah. Like, what classes do you think high school students should take?
Um, I think, well, if you have any computer science classes, you should take them, obviously. I think you should take as much math as you can, but again, that's just to kind of, because a lot of times if you take calculus in high school, if you learn it well enough, you can take a placement examination in college, and you can skip, anywhere from one to all three of the semesters of calculus. So if you can do that, that's three less classes that you have to take for your major. Um, Statistics, if you have any kind of statistics classes, I would take those. Same thing with probability, but those kind of go hand in hand. Um, Linear algebra, as far as mathematics and computer science goes, linear algebra comes up all the freaking time. So take linear algebra if you have a chance. Physics, take physics because you're going to have to take it. And again, it's kind of like calculus, where to me, I didn't enjoy the class that much, but it's kind of would have been a lot easier if I had taken it in high school maybe. I actually did take physics in high school, but I didn't really pay attention too much. So
Oh,
what else? Uh, yeah, that's kind of it. Yeah, uh, yeah, that's about it.
so
So yeah, anything math and anything computer science.
yeah, so you didn't pass the college placement exam for physics?
No, I didn't. Um,
Oh,
Actually, I didn't even take it. I just thought, I'll take it, and it wasn't a bad course. I liked I like physics, like I like learning about physics. I just didn't really like the homework that much because it was kind of like I don't know if you've had this experience, but you do a physics problem and it's like, oh, I only have to do one problem, but the one problem has like 20 different parts, so you have to do. It's like doing 20 problems, and it just, to me that wasn't exciting. That wasn't fun. I mean, it was cool to learn the physics, but sitting there like kind of working out this same problem and kind of, oh, now I don't know this variable, but I do know this other variable, so I'm going to do kind of the same thing, but I'm going to change this around a little bit. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't a bad class, and yeah, I didn't clip out of it, but it just it just wasn't as exciting as my computer science classes.
Yeah. What advice do you think you wish someone gave you when you were in high school?
Um, take college seriously. If you're going to go to college, take it seriously. If you're not going to go to college, that's fine. But if you're going to go to college, take it seriously. So the first time I went to college, I actually got a degree in philosophy. So this is actually my computer science degree is my second degree. And so my first time in through college, I didn't really take it very seriously. I was kind of like, it's kind of a joke. I don't know what I want to do with my life, so I'm just going to take kind of these easy classes and just kind of be a bum for a while. But if I had it to do all over again, I really really wish I would have kind of one thing I wish I would have done is talk to people, talk to professors in different departments. If I'm interested in math, maybe go talk to a math professor. Talk to career advisors and college advisors, academic advisors. Like, there's all these people that are in college and they're there to help you, but they're not going to come seek you out. You kind of have to take the initiative and find out who these people are. I just feel like I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and so instead of being proactive and trying to figure it out, I just was kind of a goofball for 4 years and got a pretty useless degree out of it. So yeah, definitely if I had it to do over again, I would have taken it a lot more seriously, and I would have taken a lot more initiative to get to know all the resources that I have there.
Oh, okay. Um, so I take it you wouldn't even think of any other degrees at this point, right?
You mean like going forward from here, or if I had it all
All
to
right,
do over
like
again?
if you did it over again, you wouldn't think of anything else
Yeah.
but computer science, right?
Yeah. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think if I had it to do all over again, I would still study computer science, but I think I would double major in either math, or I might still double major in philosophy, which is okay. I mean, that's I like philosophy, I enjoy it, um, but it would have been nice to have that, something that I enjoy doing just for the sake of doing it, as well as computer science, which I also enjoy doing just for its own sake. But when I graduate, I'm going to have a job because I have a computer science degree, not because I have a philosophy degree. So um, yeah, I mean, I think that's what I would do if I did it differently. If I went back, I'd just do both majors at the same time.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks a lot. Really, it was really
Sure.
helpful.
Yeah,
And
good. So are you a senior right now?
oh yeah, I'm a senior in high school.
Okay.
I'm about to go into college next year.
Nice. And are you thinking about the U, or are you thinking about other schools, or
Well, yeah, I'm
how
thinking
does that?
about University of Utah, but it's so much more expensive than any other school in Utah.
Yeah, it is. Well, you'll get in-state tuition, right? Since
Yeah.
since you already live here. Yeah. Yeah, it is more expensive, but I mean, if you and don't take my word for it, but I mean, as far as schools in Utah, the University of Utah is the only one that has any sort of ranking in computer science. They're usually around in the 20s or 30s, and so that's out of all schools across the country. The University of Utah is in the top 20 or 30 schools in their computer science department. And I mean, it really is. It's an amazing department. The computer science department is really good there. Um, so I would say, you might. I don't. I can only speak for the University of Utah, so I don't know. This might not be entirely true, but I just don't know if the opportunities would be equal at other schools, like at USU or BYU or I don't know where else. What's the other one? There's one down in Salt Lake somewhere.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, Westminster.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't even.
Westminster.
But yeah, Westminster. Anyway, yeah, I mean it is expensive. But as far as like if you look at national averages for tuition, I think it's still pretty reasonable. And then again, if you're a pretty decent student, um, there's a lot of money that people will just give you to go to school if you're a good student. So even if even if you're not a great, don't have excellent grades in high school, if you do a year of computer science and you do really well, then you can get some money your second year and your third year as long as you keep doing well and keep making progress. There are scholarships out there. So
Oh,
yeah, I guess
okay.
that's my that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. Yeah, once again, thanks a lot for, I
Sure.
think it was
Yeah.
like a 45-minute call.
Yeah, no problem. Best of luck to you.
You too. Thank you very much.
Yep. Have a good evening.
You too. Bye.
Bye bye.